Hi, everyone. Another week. Beautiful out now. Really warm, sunny, beautiful Colorado day. So I am going to continue on with this. Bento's sketchbook, the next section. I think you can hear me. I'm drawing some irises, which are growing against the south wall of a house. They are about 1 meter tall, but beginning to be in full bloom, they are somewhat bent over by the weight of their flowers. 4 to a stalk. The sun is shining. It's the month of May. All the snow at altitudes less than 1,500 meters has melted. I think these irises are of a variety called copper luster. Their colors are dark crimson brown, yellow, white, copper, the colors of the instruments of a brass band being played with abandon. Their stalks and calyxes and sepals are a pale viridian. I'm drawing with black ink, schiefer, and wash and spit, using my finger rather than a brush. Beside me on the grass where I'm sitting are a few sheets of colored Chinese rice paper. I chose them for their cereal colors. Maybe later I will tear shapes from them and use them as collage. I have a glue stick if need be. There's also on the grass a bright yellow oil pastel taken from a pastel kit made for school kids with the trade name Giotto. The drawn flowers look as though they're going to be half life-size. You lose your sense of time when drawing. You are so concentrated on scales of space. I've probably been drawing for about 40 minutes, perhaps longer. Irises grew in Babylon. Their name came later from the Greek goddess of the rainbow. The French fleur-de-lis was an iris. The blossoms occupy the top half of the paper. The stems force their way upwards through the bottom half. The stems are not vertical. They lean to the right. At a certain moment, if you don't decide to abandon a drawing in order to begin another, the looking involved in what you are measuring and summoning up changes. At first, you question the model, the 7 irises, in order to discover lines, shapes, tones that you can trace on the paper. The drawing accumulates the answers. Also, of course, it accumulates corrections after further questioning of the first answers. Drawing is correcting. I'm beginning now to use the Chinese papers. They turn the ink lines into veins. At a certain point, if you're lucky, the accumulation becomes an image. That's to say, it stops being a heap of signs and becomes a presence. Uncouth, but a presence. This is when your looking changes. You start questioning the presence as much as the model. How is it asking to be altered so as to become less uncouth? You stare at the drawing and repeatedly glance at the 7 irises to look. Not at their structure this time, but at what is radiating from them, at their energy. How do they interact with the air around them, with the sunshine, with the warmth reflected off the wall of the house? Drawing now involves subtracting as much as adding. It involves the paper as much as the forms drawn on it. I use razor blade, pencil, yellow crayon, spit. I can't hurry. I'm taking my time. as if I had all the time in the world. I do have all the time in the world. And with this belief, I continue making the minimal corrections, one after another, and then another, in order to make the presence of the seven irises a little more comfortable, and so more evident. All the time in the world. In fact, I have to deliver the drawing tonight. I have made it for Marie Claude, who died 2 days ago, aged 58, of a heart attack. Tonight, the drawing will be in the church somewhere near her coffin. The coffin will be open for those who want to see Marie Claude for the last time. Her funeral is tomorrow. Then the drawing, rolled up and tied with a ribbon, will be placed with live flowers in her coffin and be buried with her. We who draw do so not only to make something visible to others, but also to accompany something invisible to its incalculable destination. 2 days after Marie Claude's funeral, I received an email telling that a small drawing of mine, an eighth of the size of the drawing of the copper luster irises, had been sold in a London art auction for £4,500, a sum of money such as Marie Claude would never have dreamt of having in her hands during her entire lifetime. The auction was organized by the Helen Berger Foundation, which gives moral, material, and legal support to people begging for asylum in Great Britain, people whose lives and identities have been shattered by traffickers of immigrants, slave traders, and all but name, by armies that terrorize civilian populations, and by racist governments. The foundation appealed to artists to donate a work which could be sold to raise funds for its activities. Along with many others, I sent a small contribution, a little portrait in charcoal of the subcommandant Marcos, which I had made in the Chiapas, southeast Mexico, around Christmas 2007. He, I, two Zapatista commandants, and two children are taking it easy in a log cabin in the outskirts of the town of San Cristobal de las Casas. We've written letters to each other, Marcos and I. We've spoken together from the same platform, but we've never before sat face to face in private. He knows I'd like to draw him. I know he won't take off his mask. He could talk about the forthcoming Mexican elections or about peasants as a class of survivors, and we don't. A strange quietude affects us both. We smile. I watch him, and I have no sense of urgency about drawing him. It's as if we've spent countless days together, as if everything is unremarkably familiar and requires no action. Finally, I open my sketchbook and pick up a stick of charcoal. I see his low brow, his two eyes, the bridge of his nose. The rest is concealed by ski mask and cap. I let the charcoal, held between my thumb and two fingers, draw, as if reading by touch, some kind of braille. The drawing stops. I blow fixative onto it so it won't smudge. The log cabin smells of the alcohol of the fixative. In the second drawing, his right hand comes up to touch the cheek of his mask, a large hand splayed out with pain between its fingers. The pain of solitude. The solitude of an entire people over the last half millennium. Later, a third drawing starts. Two eyes examining me. The presumed undulation of a smile. He is smoking his pipe. Smoking a pipe or watching a companion smoking a pipe is another way of letting time pass, of doing nothing. I fix the drawing. The next drawing, the fourth, is about two men looking hard at each other, each in his own manner. Maybe the four are not proper drawings, but simply sketch maps of an encounter. Maps that may make it less likely to get lost. A question of hope. It was one of these maps that I gave to the Helen Berger Foundation. Apparently, the bidding for it was prolonged and fierce. The bidders were competing to give money to a cause in which they believed, and in exchange, they hoped to get a little closer to a visionary political thinker sheltering in the mountains of southeast Mexico. The money the drawing fetched at the auction will help to buy medicines, care, counselors, nurses, lawyers for Sarah or Hamid or Golson or Jean. We who draw do so not only to make something observed visible to others, but also to accompany something invisible to its incalculable destination. All right. That was a lot. Okay. So let's draw. Okay, everyone. Be well. Take care. Bye.